I don't know. What do you think? Like talking to your network, you interact with like lots of people in like you were just talking to Ray Dalio, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to these people in your circle, does Bitcoin ever come up? And like, what are they? I'm curious what the conversations are like if you ever talk to people about Bitcoin.
I did ask Ray Dalio if he ever felt FOMO, and he'd never heard the term. So there's a conversation towards the end of the show on the Jordan Harbinger Show with Ray Dalio. There's a conversation where I ask him and explain FOMO to him, and the answer, I don't 100% recall exactly what he said, so I don't want to misquote him. Plus, it's a good tease probably for the episode. But I thought it was interesting that Ray Dalio had never heard of FOMO. You know, like,
yeah.
And even when I said, fear of missing out, like missing out on an investment, and he was just like, like he didn't seem to be. It was weird because I thought he would go, oh my God, yeah, all the time, But
yeah, I would think so.
Because even in his book, in Principles, he talks about getting out of silver when silver was at like $10. This is probably in the 70s for all I know. And he was kicking himself because his friend stayed in silver and spent all of his money and put it all in silver, and it went up to like $90. And then it went down to $9. So the guy lost everything.
That's like the crypto bubble, but the 80s version where it was with metals.
And I thought that was interesting that one of the richest men he knew, who was also one of the wealthiest guys probably in the world at that time, I think he'd mentioned, put everything into silver. It's like, dude, you're one of the richest people around. Throw a couple $100 million in there and be satisfied with selling it when you're up 30%. Like, aren't there all kinds of phrases in investment land that say like, you'll never go broke selling when you're up 20% or something like that?
Yeah, you'd think that he'd have a good risk management strategy for that.
Yeah, he probably had everybody telling him sell, and he's like, you don't know squat. I'm up 900%,
Yeah, and anybody listening to this that invested in ICOs or crypto in the last bubble probably can relate with that.
Hell yeah, dude. I kept stuff where I was like, it's only at 19x. I'm going to wait till it hits 20 and sell. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
That's 2,000%.
I know. It's at 20x. It could go 100x.
This could be my ticket. I eventually stopped believing that, but early on I sure did. I mean, there was a time where I sold a ton of, I forget what it is now, but I saw it going way up and I sold it and it was 19 something X, maybe 18x. And I remember looking after I sold it, why did it go up? And it was like you said before, McAfee, he had tweeted about it. And I was like, oh, cool. He must really like it. Maybe I shouldn't have sold it. And then like 3 days later, I'm like, wait a minute. This guy's clearly just tweeting everything. I wonder if he's getting paid to do it. And then I think it came out later that he charged like $250,000 to like these companies. And he would tweet about your coin and say it's great. And I was like, wow, you're just a horrible person.
Yeah. He's like an anarchist, hardcore libertarian, whatever. So I can see from his perspective how he could rationalize that what he was doing was okay. But it's people are getting hurt by this stuff, and the fundamentals suck for these things. So I kind of look at it like myself. Like if someone's a no coiner, right, and they're like, "Oh, but you're doing the same thing, recommending people buy Bitcoin." I'm like, yeah, but I'm not recommending people put everything they have into it, and not saying it's going to go up 100x in the next couple of months. Like, I do think Bitcoin is going to go up potentially 100x if it succeeds at its mission of like challenging gold as a reserve currency of the world over 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I recommend you put like a small percentage of your net worth into it. It's like that makes more sense than Digibyte is going to be the new game coin. Fortnite's probably going to use it. It's going to go to $1 billion. Like, buy it. And then you're taking $250,000 to say that. Like, yeah, that's a scam.
Yeah, that's a scam. And so I don't get it. I don't understand the philosophy behind trying to rationalize something. So, okay, if you're an anarchist or something like that, does that mean you can hurt other people? I didn't hear that. Like he knowingly hurt other people and just didn't care.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just because he's old or he's done too many drugs or he just enjoys the thrill of like having a lot of followers on Twitter or like running from the law or what. But my partner in my venture company, Micah, he invested in this documentary Adventures in Crypto, and they went to John McAfee's like house on this island he was at
in Belize.
And he was I don't know, he's not in Belize anymore. It was like somewhere else, and he was like open carrying AK-47s around the house.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was crazy.
He was on James Altucher's podcast, and he had asked to come on my podcast, and I checked out like 10 minutes of James Altucher's podcast, and I was like, this guy's mentally ill. Like not even like a laughing matter. Like he's crazy. He sounded like straight up doing bath salts. You know what I mean? Like he was just paranoid and a nutso. And I thought, this is an unhealthy person, you know, by all accounts here. This is bad. So
if you won't have him on your show, then I probably shouldn't have him on mine.
You can have him on your show. Just be aware that you're going to get a crazy person. You're not going to get like a guy who's got some well-reasoned arguments about cryptocurrency. You're going to get a crazy guy who's on. Who's on?
No, I tried to interact with him before, like when he just came into the Bitcoin scene, and it was really obvious early on he didn't have a clue what cryptocurrency, what was valuable about cryptocurrency. He didn't know much about Bitcoin, but he was presenting himself as like the Bitcoin guy. You know, he was going to invest like hundreds of millions of dollars into Bitcoin mining and have the biggest Bitcoin mine in North America. And meanwhile, he doesn't even realize that BCH is not Bitcoin, and he's talking to Jihan Wu and Roger Ver, and he thinks that's actually Bitcoin, and he thinks he's going to make money mining those things when it's not really Bitcoin. And he ended up, I guess the company went public and went like down 90%. Oof. And he doesn't talk about it anymore for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Oh man.
But those guys all had problems too. They all lost a lot of money betting against Bitcoin and trying to fork it and all that.